Hello, this is Victor at RestoringMercedes.com. This video is for Vadim in California, and this video is this video is made to document what was done to this transmission as a record, and a couple of other things I guess I'll talk about. Now, 722.3 reverse repair. So this transmission lost reverse gears completely. Barely any engagement when it's cold, and that's it. I mean, when it warms up, it's just totally like no engagement, no reverse. Forward gears are perfect, and when I took it apart, I had some other videos about it. But anyway, so transmission is finally ready to go for the installation back in the vehicle, and this is what was done. So basically, reverse clutches, all of them were gone. I have video, I have some parts laying over there, I'll show you later. Reverse clutches, front seal, lip seals on K3, on the actual piston, they were bad too. B1 piston reset, and it also had an issue with a lock washer. I mean, I'll show you that too. So that one was replaced and taken from another transmission. O-ring is replaced as well. The well, obviously the filter and the gasket, and also the rear pump. This is like a backside of the governor. The seal over here was seeping a little bit, so I replaced that as well. And that's basically it. It sounds very little, but it's a lot of work. Also some O-rings replaced on overload protection switch and the piston for the B1. Torque converter is back in place. I'm going to tighten it up before I wheel this transmission out for the installation. How I know if torque converter is all the way in is you hear the noise. That means that torque converter backside is touching the case of the transmission, because when it's installed in the vehicle, it's going to be outwards like that. Yes. And it's going to be spinning. You see, no noise. Well, it keeps going back in because transmission's at the angle. It was easier for me to have it angled, so I have torque converter set up better. But I don't want to pull it all the way, but obviously it's going to be outwards more, just something like that. So no noise. See, now it's noise because it went back in, because transmission's at the angle. But I'm really happy because once you hear this noise, you know your torque converter is all the way in. So that's great. Now let's go over parts and the parts kit. Every time I do any transmissions, I always buy a fresh kit, because it's always good to have all the seals. This kit came incomplete, and that's another kind of a bummer. This kit did not have, first of all, it does not have crush washers for cooler lines. Fine, I took the cooler lines crush washers, those little things there, these things right here, I grind them down a little bit. I have one, and I think I have some laying around, and I'll show you. I might have some in that box right there. But anyway, I grind them down, they will work anyway. Second thing this kit was missing, this is a seal kit, this is not rebuild kit, this is only a seal kit. That's what I wanted to do, just to have a seal kit and clutches. Clutches were ordered separately, and the seal kit came separately as well. So Teflon rings, one of them was just too big of a size. I had to kind of get the size right. I don't know, I don't like this kit, but it will work. But it's just that when you rebuild transmission, you want everything in order. That's why I always buy complete kit, and this one was incomplete, but I still have kits from other repairs, because like I said, every time I rebuild transmission, I always have fresh kit here. So I got a bunch of other pieces laying around. See, front seal brand new. So clutches, the reverse clutches were taken from this kit, but other clutches are there, some seals and gaskets and whatnot. Well, I have that, I have this, this is, what is this, servo, that's probably B2. But anyway, so some Teflon rings. I even have springs return springs for reverse gear. But anyways, this is like a spare parts kit, but I never start any kind of repair without having a fresh kit. So because this kit did not have all the parts I needed, I had to go back into my reserves and source a couple of things from there. For example, this gasket right here, this is the secondary oil pump gasket, and the back side of the governor rack actually. So this was leaking, so it was missing from this kit, so I had to go and get it from my spare parts kit. So this is the front seal, Teflon ring. These are the ones on the snout of the front assembly. This is the O-ring from the B1. This is the oil pump gasket. This is the ripped K3 piston lip seal. Another lip seal for the K3. Front cover gasket itself. And you got the clutches, of course. Well, I made video about clutches. These are dead clutches, so like on. Moving on, B1 piston. The problem with B1 piston is this little piece right here. Original one was bad, but I do have another transmission, same exact one. Right there is my parts. I was gonna rebuild it, but never have any time for it. But I took out the whole assembly from this one and sourced this very little piece. Basically what this one does, this is a self-adjusting B1 piston, and it is a one-way spring. So when the clutch, the pressure is applied, this little rod extends and it should not go backwards. Now in this case, I can actually pull it right off. As you can see, that's how you reset it. You see the marks here, those shiny marks. So it was moving. Once it goes in once, it should not go backwards. So this, the one that came from this transmission, is actually going backwards. It is really difficult to even move it forward. But this one is bad. Like I can move it with just 2 fingers. So very bad, and I did replace it. This is the piston that came from the other transmission. I want to actually put it together inside that transmission to keep it there and whatnot. The clutches were soaked in. The new clutches were soaked into this little container here, so they have fluid built into the, soaked into the clutches, the material, the friction material. That's good. This is the engine hoist puller. I had to make a little adapter to remove retainer ring on K3 because I needed to go down to replace the seal, and that was all the way down deep in there. Torque wrench, obviously. Assembly lube just to get Teflon rings to stay in place, because if you don't have that, Teflon rings might move. Had to make a little puller. I had the puller in my shop back in the days, but I don't know what happened to it, so I made a new one. And that's just like that's not the puller actually. This is the kind of a rig to remove springs from B1, because these springs, there's 2 of them, and they're very, very strong, and you can't just like compress it with your fingers. B2 you can, B1 you cannot. There's double springs. This is the B1. These are very strong springs. There's 2 of them, and it's very, very strong, and you have to compress it all the way. So obviously without any kind of a rig like that, you can't do it. So that is that basically. Before I clean up the place, I just wanted to make this video real quick. I'm gonna lower transmission down, put it on this little dolly. I'm gonna move it out to the front and put it in the car. Everything else in this transmission is not touched, just the affected areas, because transmission worked really nice and shifted really good. So I'm gonna just put all these extra parts back into this box and whatever, let them be. Put the B1 back into this transmission, because I still want to have it together. Because in reality, what you can do is you can take this and you can hit it a few times to compress it, So it's gonna be, see how it's like, how it's deformed? That's normal. But if you're gonna heat it, make it more flat, then you will be able to reuse it. But I don't want to take any chances. I don't want to take any time. I just did it the way I did it. I just replaced it from the parts transmission. And this is basically covers, I mean, basically all. It sounds very easy, but at the end of the day, you know, it isn't really that easy. It took me 8 hours today to do just what I had to do with putting this transmission back together. It took a few hours to take it apart. Now it took me a few, 8 hours to basically put it together, because surfaces had to be cleaned up. Some surfaces I had to clean up with sandpaper. This is, I don't know what this one is, but that's a junk one. I know I have 2000 grit because that's the one that does, I don't know what it is, but I cleaned up surfaces with 2000 grit, very, very fine, just to clean up the oxidation for the on the back cover there, this little cover. That's the reason it was leaking, because there was some oxidation on the bottom. It was leaking a little bit. Same here for the front cover, because you want to do it once, you don't want to do it twice. So clean up surfaces very nice with 2000 grit, then clean them up with brake cleaner right here, you know. Assembly lube on the front case gasket so it's not shifting, put it all back together. I did double check on clutches, on Teflon rings when I first put them in. One, you know, you kind of feel it that it's not going in right. I pulled it off, the whole front pump assembly, and sure enough it was binding, so I had to replace it with another Teflon ring, and second time it went in nice. It felt very good. So all the other things are fine. There will be still a need to change fluid after some time, just for a good measure, because, you know, whatever, some residual will come out, and you change the fluid and filter in the gasket. And I put in a little note here for whatever future references. Reverse clutches, K3 seals, done on 10/25/2019. And this is basically all. We can lower this thing down. So it's gonna go down a little bit. Put it on that. Oh my god, look at that, no lights. Yeah, I know, because my extension cord is all curled up. Falls out when there is vibrations. It's okay. Put it back in there, come on now. There it goes. And we got the lights. So, let's just do this real quick. Just do this real quick, and so it's basically ready to go. Forward a little bit. And I don't want it to be hanging on the stress, so I don't want to be stressed out, even though I am stressed out. There it goes. So now it's on the dolly, ready to go, and I can wheel this out front and reinstall it in the car. Okay, so yes, everything's torqued out to the right specs. Torque wrench, digital, everything's fine. When transmission parts were, I was waiting for parts. They were in this bin covered up with some wrap here. I had some from my previous days, so everything was covered up from elements, because you want them to be clean. You don't want, obviously, to have anything like dust and dirt and whatever to get in. Right now we only have coolant lines exposed, but I'll probably start doing the installation. I'll start with installation tomorrow most likely, so it don't matter. One day nothing's gonna change. Yeah, okay, so I think that's it. Filter I showed before, some garbage, I ain't gonna go through that. So okay, this is it. So we're in good process. Progress is great. And yeah, see, it's like my saw over here. I just had to cut up a little bit of plastic tubing so I can have that little adapter made, so I can get the springs, I mean the circlip out. All right, so this is it for me. Just a quick update and documented situation about repair. I mean, I'm tired. I'm sorry for my voice. All right, so this is it. This is Victor at RestoringMercedes.com. Thank you for watching.